Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. We have Red White on the stand at last, the smarmy guy that punched us in the face, and we are looking to bring him to justice with his testimony having been, well, stated. We now look to pick holes in it, so let's see indeed what we can, well, poke holes in. Let's see, it was about 9, I believe. How do you know what time it was? Because I'm always absolutely perfect, you know. No, you're not getting away with that. You are so mistrusting, Mr. Lawyer. So, what was the proper term for secretary again? Anyway, Miss May ordered room service for 9. It happened soon after the room service arrived. That's what Miss May said too. Press further or hold back. Well, we know that to be a truth because of the bellboy, don't we? So we'll hold back on that. I don't see anything to gain by attacking him on this point any further, indeed. Okay, what were you doing at the time? I was quietly perusifying, that's reading to you, some papers by the window. Oh, were you now? Well, I don't think the bellboy saw you. By window? You mean the one directly across from Fay & Co. law offices? Correct! That is the only window you see. There you were reading papers? Correct! The Gatewater is a businessman's hotel, and I'm a busy man who had business to do. Then I heard a bedlam coming from outside. Did you now? I still don't think you can hear stuff from there. A bedlam? It must have been when you attacked, I assume. We see. Continue. Surprised, I turned to look at the building across the way. Oh, did you now? But still, the bellboy didn't see you in the room. So you were reading your papers until you heard that sound, and if you were at the window, he would have seen you, most likely, unless it was done in the hallway. But then she did kiss him on the cheek, so maybe it was, you know, round the corner. So you were reading your papers until you heard that sound, indeed. But of course, I'm no snoop, peeping out of the windows at night. No snoop? Yeah, right. You made a career out of snooping. It was then I saw him, a spiky-haired man attacking a woman with long hair. Well, that's different from the statement previously. Spiky-haired. Needless to say, that man was none other than you, Mr. Lawyer. Keep pressing. What you just said directly conflicts with Miss May's testimony. Miss May clearly stated that the assailant looked like a girl. I've always been proud of my eyesight, Mr. Lawyer. Just what is your eyesight? Sparkly. Counting both eyes? 40! So 20/20. 40? Don't add them together. I think the witness is trying to say his eyesight is good. Hey, whose side is the judge on anyway? And what did you do then? I called Miss May over at once. She too was surprised, of course. Well, she didn't mention any of that. What was Miss May doing at the time? She had just finished watching a soap opera on the TV and was weeping openly. Did you know she had been tapping the Fay office phone? Objection! Irrelevant! That has nothing to do with the case at hand. Well, just when I'm trying to get some actual information out of this guy. I care not. I will answer the lawyer's bold inquiry. Miss May was acting alone when she tapped the phone of this Fay woman. You make a good politician, Mr. White. Oh, I know! After all, I am El Presidente. Please continue. The victim, she ran away, but you gave chase. Oh, did I now? Can you be a little more detailed about that? I think it's worth knowing exactly what happened. Of course, comprende, I understand. The victim was attacked by you and ran to the left. You gave chase and struck her down. Okay, are you sure? Indeed. As you know, I'm always absolutely perfect indeed, are you? Perhaps you could change your testimony to reflect this new detail. Why I paused though is because I found that one weird. The victim ran to the left and you gave chase. It's time to present, I think, here. The bit of Miss May's testimony that wasn't previously stated. The victim dodged an attack, then ran to the right, but she was caught and struck. Okay, let's point out this little discrepancy.
Objection!
Wait right there! Mr. White, you've dug your own grave. I don't think he has, but still. What is this? You said the victim ran to the left, but that directly contradicts Miss May's testimony. She clearly stated the victim ran right. I thought the picture looked weird itself. Oh, it is simple. You have misheard her. Plus, that'd be running towards the desk, which would have probably not left her in a slumped position against the window in the end. I think not. Look at the floor plans. The killer was here, and the victim here. If the victim ran to the left, as you claim she did, she would have been running directly away from the door. Who's stupid enough to do that? And into a corner that's, you know, she'd just be stuck. She would have been running into a dead end. Don't you find that odd? Oh, hello, reaction. Very strange. I did see her run to the left. I did. Phoenix, look at his face. I don't think he's lying about this one. Yes, I think I know where we're going with this as well. True. Maybe he really did see the victim run left. Maybe he really did. Which puts his perspective in question, doesn't it? So he did witness the killing. Wait a second. Mr. Wright! Yes, Your Honor? Miss May says right and Mr. White says left. Can you explain this contradiction to the court? It's from what perspective you see it from. So if we're looking out the window a la Miss May, we see her run to the right and towards the door. But if you are the killer, or in this case Mr. Red White, you see her run the opposite direction because you're in the room staring the opposite way. So both are correct. Both witnesses are telling the truth. For once. Ha! I doubt it. Rather, that does not clear up the contradiction. There is one scenario that would explain their conflicting accounts. What? Obviously, the witness was not viewing the crime from the hotel. Mr. Wright, what do you mean? Yes, what do you mean? He was not viewing the crime from the hotel. If he was not in the hotel, where could he have been? In the law offices of Fay & Co., of course. Order in the court. More specifically, he was standing here. Time to show the court where Mr. White was standing. Should we put him on the exact K spot? Not that I can put it exactly.
Take that!
This is where he was. Look, when the victim ran for the door. If he was watching from this point, to him it would appear that she ran to the left. Please, this is no time for jokes and ill taste. That is where the killer was standing. Yeah, you get my point, right? Order! I will have order! Anyone disturbing the order of this courtroom will be held in contempt. Mr. Wright, what are you suggesting? Obviously, rapscallion!
Objection!
The postulations of the defense are a distortion of the truth, Your Honor. Nice words. Indeed, they do seem a bit far-fetched. Stop being on his side so much. Ha ha! He knows they're on his side. You provide us with so much entertainment, Mr. Lawyer. What now? He's laughing? The hilarity of the moment made me remember something. It appears I have been unclear. For this, I apologize. Mr. Your Honor, might I be allowed to testify once more? Very well. Let's hear your revised testimony. Good luck. You can't fix a broken testimony, buddy. Once one hole's been poked, it starts to leak out of everywhere. Which doesn't make any sense because it would poke out one hole, but still, you know what I mean. She ran to the left. Miss May's testimony was correct, as was mine. When you assaulted the girl, she first ran to the left. And then you hit her, savagely. That is what I saw. Next, with the last of her strength, she ran to the right. You chased her and delivered the final blow. Got ya. That is what Miss May saw. You see, you hit her twice. Don't you remember, Mr. Lawyer? I remember. I think a bit more clearly about you, about the evidence in the past. That does seem to make sense. Will you be cross-examining the witness's testimony? You bet I will. I mean, yes, Your Honor. The statement that we're after conflicts with a certain report, otherwise known as an autopsy. So, we're going to skip forward here. So when you saw the ghost, you first ran to the left. This is interesting stuff. That's brilliant and all that. That's what you saw. Last of her strength, she ran to the right. You chased her and delivered the final blow. That is what Miss May saw. You see, you hit her twice. Boom! Because, if we look at the Mia's autopsy report, died from a blow by a blunt object. May have lived for a few minutes after being hit. Died from a blow. Originally, it was instantaneous, of course, so several blows wouldn't have happened with instantaneous, but they might have lived for a few minutes. Of course, didn't need any more than one. Objection! One blow. Mr. White, the victim died from a single blow. Yeah, you better be worried. What do you have to say to that? Now's my chance to hit him where it counts. Mr. White, wasn't it you who told this court you were abso-positively perfect? I will refrain from using this phrase from now on. Your Honor, if you could ask the witness for a new testimony. Objection! The witness is obviously confused, Your Honor. I would like to request a 10-minute break. What? Yes, quite. Objection! I will object. The witness is confused because he's lying. I emphatically request that there be no break, Your Honor. Yeah, we want justice. Don't let him get away. Very well. If the witness would care to revise his testimony. The crowd's on my side. No slipping out of this now, White. Mr. White? Okay. Okay, next testimony. Let's rip this one apart too. Well, see, I looked at the other window when I heard that thing fall. Then, the next moment, I saw Miss Mia run to the left. The killer, you, attacked her, but she dodged. And then she turned and ran for the door. Then you did her in with a single blow. Whap! Okay, what am I looking at here? But apart from that, he is very, very messed up at the moment. Very well, you may begin the cross-examination. Mr. Your Honor, my stomach, you see, it is hurting. Deal with it, indeed. This is almost over. Well, what am I looking for here? That last one was more definitive. And well, see, I looked at the other window when I heard that thing fall. Now that's the interesting one. You heard that thing fall? What exactly was that thing? Huh? Oh, that's, the glass light stand. Right, the one that had fallen over at the scene. Now, we'd been wondering when we'd get to this, because we've had these shards for ages. Phoenix, doesn't something about that strike you as odd? Very, very odd. Yeah, that is odd. I'll press further. Mr. White. Huh? What? You're saying you saw the glass light stand? Yes. Then change your testimony to reflect that. Sorry, my bad. Cool, he's completely falling apart. The witness will revise his testimony. Okay, of course. The light stand was lying on the floor when I looked. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It's shards. Broken beyond all recognition. Shall I present that? Objection! I think that's a fairly good idea. Mr. White. It was impossible for you to have seen the light stand. What? The stand broke into pieces when it fell. Just by seeing the broken pieces, you would have no idea it was a light stand. So tell me exactly when it was that you saw the stand? Answer the question! Isn't it obvious? I saw the stand before it fell over. So, you saw the stand before the victim was attacked then? Correct! That would be no problemo, right? Well, big problemo, because that would mean you were there. And you said, like, you've never met before, didn't it? Wasn't something like that? Big problemo to me. There's a big problemo, problem here. What problem is this? Mr. White, let me make sure I have this straight. You saw the glass light stand through the window from the hotel before the incident occurred? Correct! That is so! It's conclusive, definitive, undeniable, unimpeachable! No, it's impossible! You couldn't have seen the stand! Or more to the point, I think I get where he's going with this now, but for a different reason. What? Why couldn't he? You have proof? I sure do, Your Honor. I think I get where he's going with this. A person in the hotel could not have seen the stand before it fell over because of the floor plans. Look at this. These are the floor plans to the scene of the murder, yes? I was confused, but we've got to the right place. Correct, Your Honor. Now look. If you were to look through the window at the office, this is the area you would be able to see. Here. Well, indeed. Note that the stand is not within the visible area. Well, Mr. White, what do you have to say to that? Ridiculosity! Mr. White, if you were in the Gatewater Hotel as you claim, you could not have seen the stand before it fell over. In fact, you wouldn't have been able to see it after it fell either. There's no way you could have recognized the broken shards as a glass light stand. So, when did you see the stand, Mr. White? It must have been the moment that it fell, indeed, and the only place you could have seen that from is inside the Fey Law offices. In other words, you were at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. Yeah! He is a broken man, like the light stand, really. Mr. White? Mr. White. You did it, didn't you? Mr. Your Honor. Miss Mia. Ha! Looks like we're about to get our verdict.
Objection!
Oh, stop objecting! That's far enough, Phoenix Wright. What? I forgot about Edgeworth. Mr. White, I think the time has come. Shouldn't you confess your crime now, What? I said you should confess your crime. Ergo, confess that you placed the wiretap. The wiretap? Order! Order! Mr. Edgeworth, explain to the court what you mean by this. Distinguished members of the court, Mr. White is slightly confused. Allow me to explain. I really don't like the way this is headed. As you know, Mr. White is the CEO of Blue Corp. He ordered his secretary, Miss April May, to tap the law offices of Miss Fay. What does that have to do? Your Honor, the question is, when was the wiretap placed in the office? And by who? No, you wouldn't. Mr. White, in order to place the wiretap, you entered Miss Fay's office. Am I correct? Correct! You are most correct, Miles. Give me a break. Yes, in order to place the wiretap, I breached the Fay & Co. law offices. That is when I saw that accursed light stand. Now I'm confused. Please explain to the court what all this means, Mr. Edgeworth. Gladly, Your Honor. Mr. Phoenix Wright has made his position quite clear. He has determined that Mr. White knew the glass stand was in the office. He has shown that there was only one time Mr. White could have seen the stand. The very moment of the murder. Thus, Mr. Wright would like you to believe that Mr. White was the murderer. I see. However, it is a fact that Mr. White has been to that office well before the murder took place. When he went to place the wiretap, he could have seen the glass light stand then. Ergo, Mr. Phoenix Wright's theory is revealed for the baseless conjecture it is. Mr. White, you will testify to the court about this wiretapping, he will, shall he? Leave it to me. I feel faint. And so another testimony begins, of which we will leave you a courtroom cliffhanger. Join me next time where hopefully we manage to somehow wrangle it so the guilty party gets a guilty verdict. I'll see you next time for more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorneyizing. Bye-bye.